excellent cat burglar is no mere common thief. He is a difficult animal to nail down and capture because he is not a creature of habit. The items he steals are rarely under $5,000 a piece. So is the case for cat burglar Mark Lugo, who stole a Picasso drawing worth $250,000 in broad daylight from a museum wall. Now don't let this photo fool you. Mark Lugo was no idiot. Mark was a fine restaurant sommelier by profession. In this profession, sommeliers must know which wines a restaurant has both on and off the wine list, and can help you find the right wine for your meal or particular occasion. And Mark was very good at his job. Mark's taste for the finer things in life naturally extended to the art world. That is why it came as no surprise that he walked into the Weinstein Art Gallery in broad daylight and walked out, holding under his arms a 1965 pencil drawing entitled Tête de Femme, which was worth an estimated $250,000. In French, Tête de Femme means head of a woman, which is hanging in Weinstein Gallery when witnesses said a man walked through the front door, brazenly took the drawing off the wall, and left calmly out the front door. Didn't say anything to anybody. The scene of Mark Lugo doing this harkens back to the movie The Thomas Crown Affair, when the lead actor Pierce Brosnan, who also was a fine art cat burglar, could not stop himself from lifting rare paintings from walls of art galleries, although police were closing in on him every day. Now here is a short video captured by surveillance tape of Mark walking by the painting under his arm, followed by news footage of the manhunt for the fine art thief.
Detectives were investigating the theft that took place around 11:40 a.m. at the Weinstein Gallery on Geary Street. A hook remains in the spot where the extremely valuable Picasso sketch once hung. The sketch itself is only a little bit larger than this. Police say that the whole thing happened very quickly. Officers tell Cron 4 that the thief walked into the gallery, simply removed the sketch from the wall, and then walked out and escaped in a waiting taxicab. The stolen piece is an original pencil and paper drawing by the Spanish artist that was made during the height of his popularity in 1965. It's called Tête de Femme, which means head of a woman in French. Gallery owners recently purchased the sketch at auction for several $100,000.
To some extent, we've really operated as a free museum for the city. To do so, we have security measures in place, and those obviously were breached today.
Police say whoever took the sketch will have a hard time selling it on the open market.
You can't sell it on the street, obviously, and someone who knows art is going to know that this is a high-value item.
And now that the word is out about the theft, legitimate dealers will be on the lookout. The gallery says it is reviewing security protocol and will be making changes to prevent this from happening again. In San Francisco, Jeff Bush, Cron 4 News.
Mark stole that painting and handled it with the greatest of care on his way to the taxicab, who had no idea what he had just happened. He absconded that painting back to his lair where he kept other fine art pieces that he had stolen previously. So he was a collector of fine art, as long as he didn't have to pay for it. And with the help of the public and surveillance tapes, San Francisco PD successfully arrested Mark Lugo at a hotel in Napa, California, where his hotel room was searched and the missing Picasso sketch was recovered. So Mark did not live there in that hotel. He just wanted to stop there momentarily to steal that drawing and move on. Upon his capture, Lugo invoked his right to remain silent, so authorities said they don't know what he was doing in San Francisco or if he traveled to steal the painting. And when authorities recovered the painting, they noticed that it wasn't damaged, but that it had been removed from the frame that was on the art dealer's wall. The first of two surveillance videos led to Lugo's arrest. The first video came from a restaurant on the block the gallery called Lefty O'Dou's and showed a man matching police and witness description carrying a framed piece of art. This man's most notable attribute was that he was wearing a dark jacket and loafers with no socks. According to police, the frame size appeared to be the exact same dimensions as the stolen Picasso, which was a 10 by 5 by 8 by 5 in inches. Lefty O'Dou's owner, Nick Bovis, said, "I couldn't believe it. I got lucky to get a picture of him. You know, this guy here walked right in the middle of the daytime, took a Picasso, walked down the street, and jumped into a cab, he said. Police impounded a getaway cab as well as evidence and interviewed the cab driver, who told police he dropped the suspect off at a hotel in San Francisco. So next time you want to steal something, don't go back to where you're staying temporarily. Anyways, police pulled a surveillance video from the vehicle, which helped the police with the suspect's identification. Police urged other businesses in the area to lend their video footage in order to make their case easier to solve. Now, after authorities captured Lugo, they set his bail at $5 million. That's an amazing amount, even for an art thief. Here's news footage after his arrest.
The man accused of walking into an upscale San Francisco art gallery and stealing a Pablo Picasso sketch worth more than $200,000 pled not guilty in court Friday. Surveillance cameras caught Mark Lugo walking from the scene of the crime carrying the sketch. His bail was set at $5 million.
Where the bail was set, I believe, because of, and all due respect to you folks, the overhyped media aspect of the case. As I said when I came out of court at the last appearance, no one got killed here. Nobody was assaulted here.
A police raid on Lugo's New Jersey home this week turned up $500,000 worth of art stolen from galleries in New York City, including another Picasso drawing.
All of the things that were taken were apparently taken in the last 45 days. And that speaks more to a burst of compulsive energy than someone who has the ability and the sophistication to go out and fence these paintings.
Lugo's attorney says his client is unable to make bail. Even if he could, he wouldn't go free due to the pending criminal case in New York. Haven Daily, Associated Press, San Francisco.
After Lugo's bail is set at an astounding $5 million, Lugo struck a plea deal with prosecutors that garnered a 16-month stay in prison. With credit for time served, he was released from custody and placed on mandatory supervised probation. However, within 5 days after his release, Lugo was immediately extradited to New York, where District Attorney George Gascon indicted him on the theft of the remainder of the art pieces in his apartment. Lugo has worked at top-tier Manhattan restaurants, was looking for a job when he arrived in San Francisco, which is why he looted museums in proximity. The news of Lugo's capture in San Francisco caught the interest of galleries and hotels in Manhattan, where surveillance footage had also allegedly captured Lugo in the act of stealing their paintings as well. A subsequent police raid at his New Jersey apartment turned up 11 pieces of stolen art. New Jersey police said Lugo did not appear to be selling the art, but hosted his own private gallery. The pieces were hung on the walls and laying about his apartment. He became an art dealer unto himself. Lugo's attorney, Douglas Hungrad, described his client's art thievery as a psychotic episode. He said that Lugo had no criminal history prior to the alleged art thefts, which occurred within a month-long period. So he suggested that this guy had like a little short psychiatric moment where it changed him from what he was a regular person to an art thief. But it didn't give him the skill to steal the art. Now, District Attorney George Gascon praised police and merchants for collaborating in a way that led to Lugo's arrest and the sketch recovery in a short amount of time. Surveillance video provided by Lefty O'Doul's and Hotel Palomar was a key to the arrest, along with the statements offered by Lugo's cab driver, Gascon said. Now, Roland Weinstein, the owner of Weinstein Gallery, remember where he stole the painting from? He said the value of the stolen Picasso, which he purchased at an auction, would likely increase in value due to the publicity surrounding the theft. So I guess that Lugo did this museum a favor, as well as other artists that we'll name in a minute, when he stole their art paintings as well. Since the theft, Weinstein Art Gallery owner said he's increased security at his gallery, adding a security guard and surveillance cameras. Weinstein returned the recovered Picasso here to the exact same position that it was stolen from originally without damage. By the looks of the New Jersey apartment where Lugo used to live, which appeared to accentuate a Picasso piece here and there, a Ferdinand Lega sketch there, Margot Lugo was every bit an art aficionado, with expensive taste and deep pockets to match, one would believe. But just like the surreal art cubist masters, he admired Mr. Lugo's life may not be as initially seemed. In fact, prosecutors accused Mr. Lugo of acquiring his collection through theft. In other words, in English, the brother stole every painting he ever laid his hands on. Lugo pleaded not guilty in State Supreme Court in Manhattan to charges of grand larceny and criminal possession of stolen property related to the thefts of works of art from thefts at 2 Manhattan motels. So in Manhattan, they have a lot of expensive hotels that keep a lot of expensive art on the wall that museums have lent them. Lugo pled guilty in California to felony grand theft, but it was his initial arrest in San Francisco for that theft that prompted the police to raid his apartment in Hoboken, New Jersey. Their authorities discovered 19 works of art, among them with a different Picasso piece than the one he stole in San Francisco. Now, Mr. Lugo, an occasional sommelier at upscale New York restaurants like BLT Fish, pulled off his heist with relative ease, the authorities said. On June 14th of that year, Lugo left the Chambers Hotel in Midtown with a tote bag he had stuffed with a pastel on board art painting, which is a series of 5 paintings by Mi Yim that are valued at about $1,800 a piece. 2 weeks later, prosecutors said he pulled off a similar feat at Healy Nomad Gallery, which is connected to the Carlisle Hotel on the Upper East Side, and there he absconded a work called Composition with Mechanical Elements. Now, that sketch was done by Legger and has been valued at close to $350,000, though Mr. Montgomery disputed that amount at trial. Mr. Lugo has been charged with the theft of only the 6 pieces by Mrs. Yim and Mr. Legger. But the Manhattan District Attorney Office said an investigation was continuing into whether 4 more works, including Picasso's recovered from Mr. Lugo's Hoboken apartment, belonged to New York City galleries. So they think that he was fleecing New York City galleries at the same time. So he didn't leave it up to hotels and just the smaller galleries. Mr. Lugo faced 2nd and 3rd degree charges for both grand larceny and criminal possession and would face 15 years in prison for each 2nd degree charge and 7 years for each 3rd degree charge. Prosecutors in the case suggested Mr. Lugo also has acquired taste for fine wines. So if you like fine art one way, you do it another way. In this case, the brother loved good wine. Prosecutor has said there was an open bench warrant for Mr. Lugo stemming from the theft of 3 bottles reportedly worth a total of $6,000 from Gary's Wine and Marketplace in Wayne, New Jersey. So the wine bottles cost $2,000 a piece. He had to have them. In his house, they found whole collections of wines that he had stolen. Mr. Lugo's lawyer, Mr. Montgomery, called him a pleasant and engaging young man who was in a bit of trouble. He stressed that Mr. Lugo had no intention of selling the artwork, implying, as he had been suggested in the past, that Mr. Lugo stole those things to create his own private art gallery. Until we see you next time, have a great day, and watch out if you have a gallery. Somebody might walk in the front door and steal your art. We'll see you again next time.